Hi, in this episode, we are going to talk all about your sphere of influence, and I have got a whopper of a story about how I dropped the ball with somebody in my sphere of influence and paid the price. Hi, and welcome to the New Agent Mindset, where we talk about the best advice, strategies, tools, and tips for new real estate agents. My name is John Pena. I'm a real estate agent with eXp Realty in El Paso, Texas. And in this episode, we're going to talk all about sphere of influence. This is probably something that you've heard a lot of talk about because as new real estate agents, or even if you've been doing this for a while, it definitely still pertains, but especially as new agents, this is typically the first big piece of advice that you get. It was certainly the first piece of advice that was given to me. And the piece of advice goes something like this. Here's what you got to do first. You got to let everybody know that you're a real estate agent, that you're in real estate, and everybody that you know, that's your sphere of influence. Or to be a little bit more specific, your sphere of influence are essentially your family, typically your friends, those people that you know, those people that you have some sort of influence on. Meaning that if you say something, they're likely to believe you, trust you, right? Because they know you. You've already have some kind of established set of time or duration in a relationship with them. So people are more inclined to trust those people that they know. They're more inclined to be influenced by people that they've known for a while. And your family and your friends are typically those people. Now, we can go a little bit further and we can even say that essentially, hopefully, all the people in your sphere of influence are people that already know, like, and trust you. Why do I keep bringing this up? Because this is important, because people, when they are making decisions, especially really big financial decisions, which is what buying or selling a home is, people want to do business with those people that they trust. Even better if they know them. Certainly even better if they like them. So that's really, really very important, and that's really what you're trying to create with new people and maintain with those people that already exist in your sphere of influence. So that is what sphere of influence is. So also, there's a really important statistic that National Association of Realtors have put out that says approximately 42% of most real estate agents' business comes from their sphere of influence. That's almost half of your business is going to come from referrals from people that are in your sphere of influence or from those people themselves. So it's a really important piece of advice. It makes sense that that's the advice that's given to new real estate agents. Yet, so many new real estate agents don't follow through. They don't reach out to their sphere of influence. Why would this possibly be the case? Chances are you can answer this question, hopefully yourself, but the main reason is that many of us have a fear of rejection or a fear of failure. Dare I say that almost all of us, to some degree, have a fear of failure, have a fear of being rejected. Now, the degree to which you have this fear and you let this fear dictate your actions can vary widely. So, some notes if you're having a problem with this. One thing is, you should keep in mind that the people that know, like, and trust you, your family and your friends, they like you. Dare I say, they love you, all right? So these people, they're gonna want to help you out. You're not burdening them by just announcing to them and letting them know that you're a real estate agent. These people care for you. In many instances, they care for you deeply. They want nothing more than for you to be successful. So you have to get past this own mental block you're creating for yourself that says, oh, I'm being a bother, I'm being a pest, I'm being a nuisance. You know, yeah, sure, if you go up to everybody on the street, random strangers, and you bombard them with how you're a real estate agent and do they need a real estate agent, yes, that's annoying. That's being a pest. That's being a nuisance. But with your family and friends, simply reaching out and saying, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm super excited that I got my real estate license. Can't wait to start this new career, this new chapter in my life. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. speak to what it is that you're excited about. These people, they should be happy for you, right? They're gonna want to help you get started. People love nothing more than to be able to give referrals to people that they know, so that if somebody comes to them and says, hey, do you know a great hairstylist? People love being able to say, oh yeah, I do, and here's their name, right? The same thing's gonna happen for you. So you need to get past that fear of rejection, that fear of failure, especially with your sphere of influence. Because if you can't do this simple announcement of, hey, I'm a real estate agent to your family and friends, then chances are you're not going to be very good at doing it with people that you meet, who are strangers, who you are hoping to convert into contacts, people that you know, people that become part of your sphere of influence. This is a great practice then for you to, get over it, so to speak, right? You're not going to sell any real estate if people don't know that you're a real estate agent. Another reason why you should definitely consider reaching out to your sphere is because they say most people within every 5 to 15 years do some kind of real estate transaction. They buy a house, so they upsize, or they downsize, or they move because of work or what have you. So these people in your sphere, chances are that at some point or another, they are going to need a real estate agent, and people typically would prefer to work with people that they already know, like, and trust. And the third thing that should give you a little bit of momentum driving forward in order to reach out and tell people that you're a real estate agent is that you need to feel a certain amount of pride and dignity in what it is you do, because hopefully you're a good agent, you know the business, you know the contracts, and you're coming from a position of wanting to give these people value. You're coming value first. You're not just going out there and asking for something. You're simply letting people know that you provide this service and that it's your greatest desire to do it to the best of your ability, that you want to take care of these people, that you want to make sure that they have a smooth transaction, that they don't fall into any pitfalls, that they get the best negotiator they can for them, that somebody is looking out for them, that somebody has their back. You are providing value for these people, and that is certainly not anything to be ashamed of. Let's get into your sphere of influence, who it really is, and how you're going to organize that information and those people, and how you're going to maintain a long-term relationship with them. So a real quick note, it needs to be said that nowadays social media has sort of changed the definition of friend, if you will, right? I probably have, several hundred friends on Facebook. Now, I can't say that I honestly know all of those people. I bet I could look on my friends list and easily be like, I don't know that person, I don't know who that is, I have no idea who that is, right? Those people are not in my sphere of influence. Now, they're primed and ready to be in your sphere of influence, and we'll get to this in a second. But one of the first steps that you're going to do after we talk about who should be included is to actually bring all of these people who you believe to be in your sphere into a list or an Excel sheet or what have you. So, who is in your sphere of influence? The people on your Facebook friends list that you have no idea who they are, they're not in, okay? These are the people that are in. Your family, your extended family. Your friends, even those friends that you haven't seen for a while. Typically, we all make friends that are really good friends, but because of work or because of moving or just whatever, we lose touch. But if you had a meaningful relationship with a friend and you called that person up or texted them or whatever, and you could almost just pick up right where you left, that person would certainly be considered a true friend and somebody you would want to include in your sphere of influence. Additionally, neighbors that you know could certainly be included in your sphere of influence. Your past co-workers, assuming you didn't leave with you didn't burn up every single bridge or something when you left your last job, but past co-workers, your spouse's co-workers and friends could certainly be included in your sphere of influence. Your kids' friends or your kids' parents could be included. These are people that you see. These are people that know and hopefully like and trust you. You share a lot of similarities. If your kids all hang out together or go to the same school. If you're in any kind of groups, PTA or like a hiking club or whatever it is, certainly those people that are fellow members, you share something in common again. Those people would be included in your sphere of influence. And finally, even like business associates, the person that cuts your hair on a regular basis, your doctor, your accountant if you use an accountant, these people that you have kind of formal, business relationships or even casual business relationships with, people that you see routinely, people that know you, that you've had some sort of history with, they would certainly be included in your sphere of influence. So, in a nutshell, those are the people who would be considered your sphere of influence. So, next step, you need to get all of these people into a list. If they're just in your head, that's not a very effective way because quite honestly, you're going to target your sphere of influence. You're going to maintain a relationship. You're going to farm this group of people in a loving, positive, non-annoying, but consistent way. So the best thing you can do, and again, at most brokers, they'll say, you need to put your database together. Your database essentially for new agents is your sphere of influence, those people already that you know, because we don't have past clients, which as we do close deals and have business, those past clients will certainly get put into our sphere of influence. But at the beginning, we don't have that. So, sphere of influence. Make a list. Get it together. You can put it on a piece of paper. You can put it into an Excel spreadsheet. A lot of brokers offer CRM software, which stands for Customer or Contact Relationship Management. So when I started with Keller Williams, they were debuting a CRM that they were making themselves called Command. Now that I'm with EXP, we have what's called KV Core. This is the same kind of thing. You put in the information that you have, and these various CRM software essentially will help you organize the information. They'll even give you reminders about when to reach out to the person. A lot of them have automatic stay in touch kinds of things. I don't quite honestly like to do that because I think it's impersonal, and I don't probably have enough people since I'm new in this town that I can't afford to actually take the time and send out those messages or make those calls myself or what have you. So anyway, the main point is you definitely want to get those people into a list. The next thing is it helps to sometimes compartmentalize or apply labels to your sphere of influence so that you have different strategies maybe that you use for different categories of those people. One example would be family, friends, co-workers, casual acquaintances, or you could even break down friends into close, long-time friends, or recent, or again, casual friends. That's one way to do it, and that would certainly provide some distinction between how you deal with these different groups. Some people like to put them into like a hot, warm, cold kind of bucket. So hot is, these are the people that you're really close to, probably your family or your closest friends, right? Warm would be those people that, yeah, you know them pretty well. These could be maybe those people that are in the PTA with you, or that you meet regularly with. Maybe PTA isn't a good example. Maybe the hiking group, because you guys go and you go out into the wild and you spend, hours at a time together. You maybe don't hang out outside of that, but you're pretty close when you are together. And then you could have a cold bucket for those people that you really don't know that well. You just kind of met. Maybe it's your spouses, co-workers, and you see them every once in a while, the Christmas party or whatever, but other than that, not so much. So that's one way to sort of start to organize your sphere. Because if you just put everybody into one big bucket, it may not be the most efficient way to keep in touch with everybody, because you may not need to, later we're going to talk about how many times you're going to try to touch, and touch just means contact, whether it's phone, email, text, what have you. So you may not need to touch your closest friends 40 times in a year, whereas those people that you don't know that well, that you're trying to develop a stronger relationship with and maybe move from cold to warm, yeah, maybe then you do need to put a little bit more time in, and you do need to go try to aim for those 40 touches. So classifying people into different groups can certainly be helpful, and a lot of brokers and a lot of agents recommend it and do that themselves. Now, this is a hack for the new real estate agents out there. I did not do this. I wish somebody would have told me this, because I think it would have been an awesome thing to do. But if you are a new real estate agent, one thing I would strongly recommend is you send out an announcement letter to everybody you can think of, everybody in your sphere, that says essentially, hey, I'm a new real estate agent. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get started. If you happen to know anybody who needs a real estate agent, I'd be overjoyed if you would consider referring me. That is a great way to sort of blast off your career, if you will, with a bang. You let everybody know, you generate some momentum. You can do this in a multitude of ways. You could send out for those people that you have a physical address of, send out actual snail mail, send out an announcement, make it nice, a colorful envelope and a card and maybe your picture or whatever it is, make it fun. If you don't have their physical address, but you have their email, make a nice email. What I like to do is I like to use Google Docs. You can import images, you can make it look nice, you can have links to your broker's website if that's what you have or whatever. But you could send out and create a nice email, or go find, I'm sure there's a multitude of email templates out there that you can use for free. So send out a big email, and additionally on your social media, Facebook seems to be the most relevant, LinkedIn here I suppose you could do as well. You can make a nice post that has all of this information, right? That is a great way to kick off your career. Again, if you have that fear of being kind of a nuisance, you should get over that. Nobody's gonna do real estate with you if they don't know that you are a real estate agent, okay? So get over it, push yourself out of that comfort zone if that's where you find yourself right now. Get over it, put it out there. An even more fantastic idea, made a little bit tricky because of coronavirus right now when I'm recording this, but an even better idea is to pony up a couple $100, rent out a bar or a venue, get some food, maybe some drinks, and have a party. Throw an event, invite everybody that you know, as say, this is make up a fun name for it. Your real estate blast off party. I don't know, you can be more creative than that, I hope. But have a party, have an event, right? Everybody loves a party. You're gonna put up you're gonna put up some money. It doesn't have to be that much. Just have some food or get some decorations, or just rent out a place so you have a little bit of space to really do this thing. Invite everybody you know. Tell them to invite their friends, because now it's an opportunity for you to meet more people, right? And do it that way. I wish I would have done that. That would have been a great thing, even for me who had just moved to this city and I didn't know that many people. Still, I knew enough people that I could have, gotten, some people there, and who knows. So, if you're a new real estate agent, that's, I think, a great piece of advice right there. So, for the rest of us, moving on. You want to nurture your sphere of influence. Now, I told you at the beginning that I had a great story about a failure of mine. And this is so funny that I didn't plan it for this week to go down like this. I had planned to do sphere of influence, and then this happened just a couple days ago. So, when I first moved to El Paso, I have somewhat of a web development background, a limited web development background, but nonetheless. So one of the first things I did, this was about a year ago. This was before COVID. I went on to Meetup, and I tried to find some tech groups. There aren't that many here that are actually active, but I found one, and I was able to talk to the admin, the creator of the group, a gentleman, let's call him Bob, and I was able to, kind of get a little bit of a texting conversation back and forth, and over about 3, 4, 5 months, we finally were like, okay, hey, you know what? We've been talking a lot. Let's get together and talk and meet face to face. Now COVID had happened, I think. So we met at a corner bakery. We had lunch together. We had a really nice time, right? We got along pretty well. And we were like, great. We even made some plans to try to do some things together. Those things didn't pan out, but it did give us a reason to stay in touch, okay? Now, fast forward 6 to 8 months to right now, to this week. I hadn't talked to Bob for a while. I let it slide because I've been, focused on some other things. So I didn't touch Bob for, I'm saying I bet I haven't talked to him in any regards, text or even just a simple anything, probably for 4 months. This week, I reached out to him and because I had a question I wanted to ask him, and he said, hey, I'm gonna give you a call, some big changes here. He calls me and he says, hey, we're moving, I sold my house, and I bought a house in X. So, this is that moment that every real estate agent talks about, that moment where they have somebody who was in their sphere of influence who they didn't keep in contact with, and sure enough, then they come to find out that this person sold their house, got a different real estate agent, and that's what we call leaving money on the table. So it's a perfect example of why you need to nurture your sphere of influence, why you have to maintain contact, regular, consistent contact with these people, because for a while I was top of mind with Bob. And then because Bob didn't hear from me for a long time, I just kind of, fell off to the wayside. And when Bob decided to sell his home, which by the way, was a pretty expensive home, this was a home that's probably about twice the average cost of a home here in El Paso, Bob didn't think of me. He went with whoever it is he decided to go with. Also, then he bought another house for probably the same price, and while that other house was in a different state, it still could have been an opportunity for me to get a referral on the other end of that and recommend an agent. So let that be a lesson to you. Just because somebody is in your sphere of influence, if you don't maintain a contact, a relationship with them, you will leave money on the table. Trust me, we have all done it. Now I have, and that's just, this week. Who knows who else in this, last 4, 5, 6 months where I've been focused on different things. Who else could have, needed a real estate agent, and because I wasn't anywhere to be found, I wasn't used. Money on the table. Don't let that be you. Chances are it probably will be, unless you take the following advice. In doing research for this episode, I came across a number that I'm going to use, and the number goes like this. In order for you to stay top of mind with people that are in your sphere of influence, you need to touch these people roughly 40 times a year. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, wow, that is a really big number. How in the world am I going to touch everybody in my sphere of influence 40 times over a 12-month span? And I will tell you, there's a number of different ways to do this. Remember, a touch consists of any contact that you have with them. A phone call, an email, snail mail, a letter, a face-to-face, a DM through Instagram, could be a comment on something that they post to Facebook. So there's a lot of different ways to touch these people. It doesn't just have to be, it's not like you're going to make you're going to call somebody 40 times in 1 year. Nobody wants that, including you, I suspect. So here are a couple of ideas, a couple of ways to do this. This now harkens back to this idea of you need to have your list organized so that you can keep track somehow of who you've touched, right? Because if you don't keep track of this, if you don't have the data, then you don't know what's going on and you're kind of shooting in the dark. So you need to come up with some kind of system to keep track of all of this. But these are the ways that you're going to potentially try to reach out and touch people and grow your business at the same time. One thing that I like to do, tons of agents and brokers recommend this, is a monthly newsletter. It's so important that I'll probably do its own episode and own blog post on it, but in a nutshell, a monthly newsletter, all you need is the person's email address, which is relatively easy enough to get, even if you go out there and ask for it. But this is 12 touches right away, and you're getting a lot of bang for your buck, right? Because you create one piece of content, that email, and you send it out, and you touch a bunch of people at once. So that's fantastic. A great example of duplication. This idea of instead of having to say the same thing to 50 people, you send that one piece of content that says it once to all 50 of those people. And like I said, we'll do another episode on this specifically, but one thing to think about is don't just go aggressive on, I'm a real estate agent. Are you looking to buy a house? Are you looking to sell a house? Who do you know that needs to look or that's looking for a real estate agent? Don't go that route. Provide value. I would suggest, quite honestly, even start with something that actually provides value for everybody you're sending this email out to. This could be something about your community. This could be some kind of well wish from you to them. This could be some kind of important notice about some relevant change in real estate perhaps, but not everybody who gets your email is going to be a potential client in this moment. So if you just come out with like a hard, aggressive real estate agent kind of use me, kind of I'm the best agent, that's not going to go over well. People are just going to get used to deleting your email without ever looking at it. But the last one that I did, I went on a hike here in El Paso with a meetup group, and I wrote a little article about it, and I talked about what a great time I had, and I included some pictures of us all on this hike, and everybody had a mask on. And so even if you weren't looking to buy or sell a home, you still might have found that piece of content interesting and relevant. So email newsletter, great one to do. Definitely should think about putting a little bit of time into that one. Next up, everybody's favorite, a phone call. Now, I don't like talking on the phone all that much, but I do try to reach out to the people that are in my sphere of influence. Everyone suggests 3 to 4 times a year. Around the holidays, this can be done. If I meet with somebody face-to-face on a regular basis, I don't call them. But for the people that I don't get to see face-to-face on a regular basis, I do like to reach out, talk to them on the phone, because a phone conversation is the next best thing to face-to-face, because you're hearing the other person's voice, you're hearing the emotion in their voice, they're hearing the emotion and the energy in your voice, and it's a great way still to connect with people. You don't have to be on the phone for an hour. You can call somebody up and say, hey, just wanted to check in, see how you're doing. Do you need anything? How's work? How are the kids? And chances are the questions will be asked of you. You know, hey, I heard, that's right, you're in real estate. How's that going for you? Oh, it's going great. You know, if you ever hear of anybody who needs to do anything with real estate, keep me in mind. 3 to 4 times a year if you're not seeing those folks face to face. Next up, a text message or a direct message through Instagram or Facebook or what have you. Quite honestly, I love these because they're still personal, they're still one-on-one, they're still just between you and the other person, and people can respond to them whenever it's convenient. You can shoot a couple back and forth. Great way to keep in touch. You can also send funny pictures or memes if you're into that kind of thing. So that's a great way to touch people pretty quickly, and you can sit down for an hour and, you know, hit 5, 10, 15 people, right? And just crank out a bunch of them at once. So that's a great way to do it. Mentioned this once before, but good old snail mail When was the last time that you received an actual mail in the letter from a friend, right? I read a story about one agent, he or she, I'm not sure, buys like nice, fun, bright colored envelopes, writes a little handwritten letter. You can make up a little marketing piece and just sign it or write a personal note at the end. But people love getting mail still. It's you know, and now it's like a novel thing to go out to your mailbox and like get an actual letter. So snail mail can be great. A lot of people like that. Good one to do at holidays as well. Next, if you can schedule a lunch or coffee, that's a great way to meet with people. Face-to-face is fantastic. If you can schedule that in with people, that's great. To get a little more, kind of kill two birds with one stone, if you can have an event. A lot of agents will have an event once or twice a year. They'll invite everybody in their sphere of influence, including past clients, which hopefully you'll be getting soon. And that's a great way to network with a bunch of people and let them network with each other. Everybody loves an event. We have a Top Golf here. That's a great place if you have the money to host an event, something like that. You could do it at a Chuck E. Cheese if a lot of people in your sphere have little kids. So you bring the kids together and let them all play, whatever. That's a great way to maintain a meaningful connection with those people in your sphere of influence. And finally, a less meaningful way, but for those people that might be in, we kind of alluded to this before, those people that are in your cold bucket, just commenting in a positive, friendly, happy, joyful, loving way, commenting on the post that they share, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, even just there was somebody that I was trying to make a connection with that lives in a particular neighborhood that I want to eventually kind of position myself into. I started following this person. They post really cool pictures and they talk about things that resonate with me, and so I might say something like, well said, exclamation point, or you know, if they're in some really cool location, I'll say that location looks amazing, happy face emoji, or whatever it is. On Facebook, just a simple comment, something nice, friendly, supportive, not controversial, for the absolutely not political, nothing, don't go there, okay? But just something positive, supportive, and that's a great way to kind of nurture those people that you don't know well enough to call on the phone, and you're probably not going to invite them to lunch, but that's a great way to kind of move somebody from a cold bucket potentially to a warm bucket. So, great way to also touch those people in your sphere. So, there's a lot more to say about sphere of influence, and I'm sure we will, but for now, I hope that you found that valuable information. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel. There's also an audio podcast that I release every Tuesday called New Real Estate Agent Mindset, where instead of me just blabbing on about the topics that I think you might be interested in, I actually study different books and take a chapter at a time and relay the most pertinent, relevant information from the book to you. Right now we're doing The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. Fantastic book, lots of great mindset lessons for agents. So you can check that out on iTunes, Spotify, what have you. If you also could be so kind in the comments to tell me whether or not this is what you thought sphere of influence was. If you're a new real estate agent, have you heard this term? Some people might call it your personal circle, same kind of thing, but is this how they explained it? Are there any differences? Have you been reaching out and leveraging your sphere of influence if you're an agent who isn't new but has been doing this for a while? Do you think that number, about 42% of your business, has come from referrals and from your sphere of influence? Please comment below. I would find that super interesting. And by all means, reach out to me. I'm here to provide value for you. That is my greatest intention, is to help new real estate agents find success, to learn from the mistakes that I've made and that others have made, to get a strong start so that you can be successful in a business that is rewarding, but at the same time also pretty challenging. So, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.